Genesis 2. And the heaven and the earth and all the things in them were complete. And on the seventh day God came to the end of all his work, and on the seventh day he took his rest from all the work which he had done. And God gave his blessing to the seventh day, and made it holy, because on that day he took his rest from all the work which he had made and done. And these are the generations of the heaven and the earth when they were made. And the day when the Lord God made earth and heaven, there were no plants of the field on the earth, and no grass had come up. For the Lord God had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no man to do work on the land. But a mist went up from the earth, watering all the face of the land. And the Lord God made man from the dust of the earth, breathing into him the breath of life, and man became a living soul. And the Lord God made a garden in the east, in Eden, and there he put the man whom he made. And out of the earth the Lord made every living tree to come, delighting the eye and good for food. And in the middle of the garden the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out of Eden, giving water to the garden. And from there it was parted, and became 4 streams. The name of the first is Pishon, which goes round about all the land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. And the land of the second river is Gihon. This river goes round all of the land of Cush. And the name of the third river is Tigris, which goes to the east of Assyria. And the fourth river is Euphrates. And the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to do work in it and take care of it. And the Lord God gave the man orders, saying, You may freely take of the fruit of every tree of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you may not take, for on that day when you take of it, death will certainly come to you. And the Lord God said, It is not good for man to be by himself. I will make one like himself, as a help to him. And from the earth the Lord God made every beast of the field and every bird of the air, and took them to the man to see what names he would give them. And whatever name he gave to any living thing, that was its name. And the man gave names to all cattle, and to all the birds of the air, and to every beast of the field. But Adam had no one like himself as a help. And the Lord God sent a deep sleep on the man, and took one of the bones from his side while he was sleeping, joining up the flesh again in its place. And from the bone which the Lord God had taken from the man he made into a woman, and took her to the man. And the man said, This is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. Let her name be woman, because she is taken out of man. For this cause will a man go away from his father and his mother and be joined to his wife, and they will become one flesh. And the man and his wife were without clothing, and they had no sense of shame. So let me give my thoughts on this chapter. The first 4 verses are an end to chapter 1. So let's see. If we cut it off here at verse 4, it says, These are the generations of the heaven and the earth when they were made. And it's talking about God. He had the first 6 days in chapter 1, and then on the 7th day he rests, and he makes the 7th day holy. Then comes what some people consider to be a second creation story for the rest of chapter 2, where we go back to when there's no grass on the earth, there's no plants in the field, and then a mist comes up from the earth, watering the land, and God makes man from the dust of the earth. And now that there's now that there's water and man, plants can start growing, and there can be crops in a field, because man is going to be the one who maintains a field and a garden. So God creates a garden. I find this interesting. It's God doesn't put man in the wilderness, right? He actually creates a garden himself, so he gives order to the plants, because the garden is ordered, it's beautiful. There's thought that goes into creating a garden, and that's where the man goes, and his job is to maintain the garden. And it's not good that he's alone, so God gives him a partner who is the woman. And let's see, anything else to remark upon at all? Well, this one seems to be a literal place, I guess, because it talks about the rivers coming out of Eden, and it mentions places like the Tigris River and Assyria and the Euphrates. So they're giving a physical location to where humanity began in this one. And it also hits on the point again that man is here to take care of nature. So God put man in the garden to do work and to take care of it. And in particular, this indicates that work isn't evil, and work actually precedes sin. So this is before Adam and Eve ate the apple and sinned. So having to do work isn't a result of sin. There's actually a book called Leaf by Niggle, written by Tolkien, where he talks about this idea that I don't know how he doesn't really talk about the idea, but he gives a story that illustrates the idea that work has become corrupt because of sin, but that man was always meant to do work, and so work is painful now, but it wasn't painful before. And just imagine if whenever you did work, everything that you set out to do just worked out the way that you wanted it to work, and you could create beautiful works of art. You could create computer programs that just seamlessly came together, and you didn't have all these bugs in it, and you weren't having to go through stacks of code to figure out what other people had done. It was just easy. It came to you. Everybody was super organized. We were building all this amazing stuff. It all served humanity, and we could bring our dreams true. That's sort of the picture that Tolkien gives of heaven in his book. It's like you set out to paint, and you just paint these beautiful pictures, and you let your imagination run wild, and you come up with all these just amazing, beautiful things. And whenever you set out to share them with other people, you're actually able to do it. So you're able to share your deep emotions and your deep thoughts and everything with other people by doing some work. And again, we're called to take care of nature. So Christians, unfortunately, do not do a great job of taking care of nature.